Manchester City versus Tottenham made one thing very clear. The Premier League is about to get shaken to its core.
In going to the Etihad, winning 2-0, everybody playing their parts, whether we're talking Richarlison, Kudus, Johnson, Vicario in goal. I've mentioned Romero and Van de Ven. I thought just from back to front, it was an outstanding performance for Spurs.
What Thomas Frank has done with Spurs is nothing short of extraordinary. The North London side are no longer a fragile project. They are a team built to stare giants in the eye and make them bleed.
Extremely proud of the players' performance. I think it was exceptionally good performance. I think the first 35 minutes, we know a couple of things. We know it's always difficult to play against City. Here at Etihad, even more difficult. The first 35 minutes I thought was fairly even, but with City on top. I think they are more on top than us. Big mentality shift in terms of staying in the game and keep doing what we wanted to do. Scoring a great goal. Maybe that changed a little bit of momentum, but we definitely stayed on top, scored 2-0. Second half, I think we were very good. And the big spell where we could think that they would put pressure on us, I think we were very aggressive in the high pressure. I thought that we were very front-footed with the mindset to constantly go for the 3-0 goal. And then I must say that the clean sheet makes me very happy.
They went toe-to-toe with Paris Saint-Germain in the Super Cup final, holding their ground against the so-called best team in the world.
Palhinha's there! Chevalier onto the...
And even though they lost on penalties, they left no doubt Tottenham are fearless.
In medical terms, the operation succeeded, but the patient died.
And now in the Etihad Stadium, they did it again.
It's happened again! Manchester City! It's happened again! I'm here. We've just beaten Man City 2-0 at the Etihad. We seem to do it to them every time. Every single year, we have got something over these guys. What is it with Tottenham at the Etihad that just means every time we battle against the odds to get all 3 points every year, I'm thinking, oh, I'm fearing the worst. Oh, is this going to be the year that we lose?
They walked into Pep Guardiola's fortress and ripped away control from Manchester City in their own home. This was not luck, this was dominance. From the first whistle, Spurs pressed, fought and silenced the champions.
What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. Manchester City 0, Tottenham 2, and it's happened again. Manchester City, you've been absolutely cooked by Tottenham Hotspur once again.
Brennan Johnson, Richarlison and Mohamed Kudus tormented City's backline, turning every attack into a nightmare. And all of this without Dejan Kulusevski and James Maddison. In their absence, Rodrigo Bentancur and Joao Palhinha rose like warriors in midfield, dictating the tempo, smothering Tijani Reinders, shutting down Ryan Cherki, and leaving Erling Haaland isolated, frustrated and powerless.
What we miss the simple things. They never asked to play exceptional things, so they miss the simple things.
At the back, Christian "Cutie" Romero was a wall of steel, leading a defensive unit that refused to break, no matter what City threw at them. For 90 minutes, Spurs showed the world that they belong at the very top. This was not just a performance, this was a statement. Tottenham now look every bit like a team destined for the top 4, and maybe, just maybe, something even bigger. Meanwhile, Manchester City looked fragile. Guardiola's men, so devastating against Wolves.
Absolute quality, and from a City last year where you're looking at midfield of Gundogan and sometimes Nunes, and Kovacic, now you've got different options. Tijani Reinders and Ryan Cherki that came on looks silky, a real Man City player. So all of a sudden, the midfield looks way upgraded.
Were exposed, suffocated and stripped of their aura.
It was effort and run, and that is extraordinary since many years. So I don't have doubts. Last season, no for lack of energy, but in the States, in the pre-season, the trainings have been really good. But in that pressure, we missed the simple things and read better what they should do. And after that, in the final third, we create chances that never is easy. We create enough, but it's happened. It's football. So that, and just the second game, last game against Wolves, the people say, okay, now it's everything is fine. I said, just is the first game, so many things going to happen. It's the same right now. So I know what we're working, what the players are doing. and many good things I have. Of course, we have to improve, but I said against Wolves the same, the second half, so we have to improve. So, and step by step until we'll make the click, it will make the good connections for many things still are new. And now rest 7 days and prepared the last game before international break.
And let's be honest, unless Pep fixes his goalkeeping problem fast, James Trafford will sink this team. His feet are heavy, his decisions reckless, and for a side built on control, he is the weak link. City cannot afford to wait for him to learn they need a solution yesterday. Tottenham, on the other hand, are alive, ruthless, and full of fire. The message from the Etihad is clear. There is a new force in the Premier League, and everyone better be ready. Because Spurs have arrived, and they are here to tear this league apart. Tottenham Hotspur have made the Etihad Stadium their second home. Last season, under Ange Postecoglou, they embarrassed Manchester City 4-0 in their own fortress.
Has Johnson coming in, and Johnson!
This time, under Thomas Frank, the North London side returned with a different style, but the same ruthless mentality. Press high, suffocate Guardiola's men, and punish every mistake, and it worked to perfection.
He's one of the best. Thomas is one of the best.
Just on Thomas, then, are you surprised that a kind of European club hasn't gone for him? That he's still at Brentford after everything that he's done?
Question of time. He will get it. They will get a good manager when that's going to happen. I'm good in few things, but in really one manager is good, I know which one is good.
The game started with City trying to impose their usual rhythm, but Spurs press never allowed them to settle. After just 23 minutes, disaster struck for Guardiola when Ryan Aït-Nouri limped off with an ankle injury, forcing Nathan Ake to come on cold into the match. It was the first crack in City's structure, and Tottenham were ready to exploit it. 10 minutes before half-time, the breakthrough arrived. Richarlison, walking the tightrope of an offside line, slipped in Brennan Johnson. The Welshman showed no hesitation, firing past James Trafford with precision. The Etihad fell silent as VAR checked the play, but the decision stood. Spurs were ahead, and their press was biting harder than ever. And then came the real dagger. In stoppage time of the first half, City's young goalkeeper Trafford, already looking nervous under Tottenham's relentless pressure, had the ball at his feet. Kudus nearly forced a penalty minutes earlier after colliding with him, but this time there was no escape. Instead of playing long towards Haaland, Trafford tried a short, risky pass into Nico Gonzalez inside the penalty area. Spurs had read the script. Pape Matar Sarr jumped in, stole the ball, and João Palhinha smashed it into the net for his first Spurs goal. City's defenders threw their arms in despair. Trafford looked to the heavens, and Tottenham's players celebrated like predators who had just cornered their prey. The Etihad, usually a theatre of control and dominance, was suddenly full of doubt. City, who started the season so strong against Wolves, were now staring at a nightmare. Guardiola's faith in Trafford, bought back for £27 million from Burnley, looked like a gamble gone wrong. On the bench, Ederson watched in silence. The same Ederson that Pep had said would start the season as his number one, now overshadowed by speculation about his future and the pressure piling up on his young replacement. This wasn't just about a single error, it was about Spurs setting the trap, pressing with intelligence, and executing a plan that left the champions rattled. Ruben Dias could be seen screaming in frustration, the backline losing confidence, and Tottenham walking into half-time with all the momentum. By the break, the Etihad had been turned upside down. City were 2 goals down, Spurs were in total control, and the story of the night was already being written. Thomas Frank's Tottenham were fearless, and James Trafford was the weak link Guardiola could no longer hide. Tottenham were not just brave at the Etihad, they were organised, aggressive, and devastatingly effective. Thomas Frank knew he didn't have his natural creators, with Dejan Kulusevski and James Maddison both sidelined by long-term knee injuries. The failed moves for Ebereki Eze and Morgan Gibbs-White left Spurs without a classic number 10. But Frank showed the Premier League that when you press with precision and intelligence, you don't need a magician in midfield. Your structure becomes the playmaker. From the very first moments, the plan was clear. Every time James Trafford received the ball, Tottenham's players swarmed him like sharks smelling blood in the water. Christian Romero set the tone. Inside the first 10 minutes, Erling Haaland dropped deep to collect a pass on the edge of the box, the kind of move that usually lets City breathe and reset. But Romero was already hunting. he surged in from behind, crunched into the Norwegian with perfect timing and won the ball cleanly. It was a statement. Spurs would not let City play their game. And that aggression paid off. Already ahead thanks to Brennan Johnson's opener, Tottenham doubled their advantage by executing the very trap they had prepared all week. Trafford, under pressure again, attempted a routine pass into his defence. Pape Matar Sarr was ready, springing forward like a coiled spring, stealing possession inside the penalty area. Within seconds, João Palhinha had the ball at his feet, and with ice in his veins, he slotted it home for his first Premier League goal in Spurs colours. If there were any doubts about whether João Palhinha was the right signing for Tottenham, they were silenced at the Etihad. For years, Spurs have looked soft through the middle, especially under Postecoglou, who never managed to find the right anchor to protect his adventurous style.
On performance, Postecoglou, in my opinion, is just an overpaid, massively overpaid PE teacher. Just can't believe he's still there. I mean, I'd struggle to get him to organise a game between sort of Erinsborough High and Yabby Creek FC. Even controlling traffic on Ramsey Street, I think, would be a struggle for this guy. He's got so many deficiencies, tactically, so naive and inept. It's unbelievable. I don't know how he's got away with it for so long.
Time and time again, they were ripped apart on counter-attacks. But with Palhinha, that weakness might finally be gone. On his league debut, the Portuguese warrior gave a masterclass in defensive discipline. Thomas Frank handed him one job in the first half: shut down Ryan Cherki, and he did it with ruthless efficiency. By the 54th minute, Guardiola had seen enough and pulled Cherki off after a miserable outing, dispossessed twice, unable to influence the game and smothered by Palhinha's shadow. Minutes later, the midfielder stamped his authority again, crunching into Bernardo Silva and sparking a counter-attack that nearly ended with Brennan Johnson sealing a third for Spurs.
I think I think it's fair to say that we got a few questions about transfer market yesterday, and a lot about why not and what if and all that. What is 100% sure, we brought two top players into the club, Kudus and Palhinha. Both of them performed very well, which I'm very pleased with. And Palhinha, yeah, wow. Sometimes players need confidence and they need to be on top. And I don't think he's fully fit yet where I want him to be. But very pleased with his performance, and he's definitely helping the team.
Yes, Palhinha will be remembered for scoring his first Premier League goal in a Spurs shirt, but that's not what makes him the signing of the summer. It's the bite, the steal, the leadership in the heart of midfield. And what makes him even more valuable is that he's not just a destroyer, he's tidy on the ball, capable of threading the first pass into space, setting the platform for Spurs to break with menace. Meanwhile, City looked like a shadow of themselves. Guardiola rotated heavily, and the gamble backfired. Rico Lewis and Nico Gonzalez struggled under Spurs' press, giving the ball away in dangerous zones. Omar Marmoush, usually a central striker at Eintracht Frankfurt, looked uncomfortable drifting out wide, and Cherki, supposedly City's creative spark, failed to connect with Haaland at all. The entire first half felt frantic, chaotic, and disjointed, not the precision we usually associate with Guardiola's football. Rotation has always been part of Pep's philosophy, but this felt different. The changes stripped City of their rhythm. What should have been control became desperation. What should have been patience turned into panic. The squad is deeper than ever, but diversity in profiles can also fracture cohesion, and on this night, Tottenham ruthlessly exposed the cracks. The visitors came away with the points their performance deserved, an impressive response to the disappointment of having their move for Ebereki Eze hijacked by Arsenal this week, and allowed the away fans to gleefully chant, "We are top of the league." How long the early season ecstasy will last remains to be seen. If one thing is certain, Tottenham Hotspur under Thomas Frank are not the same fragile team that fans had to endure last season.
Good fit for Spurs, unbelievable. An unbelievable man, unbelievable coach, and if it happens, hopefully it gets over the line in the next couple of days. For all the Tottenham fans listening, you got a top manager there.
Ange Postecoglou brought them a Europa League trophy, but his all-or-nothing Ange ball left the defence wide open, conceding 22 league defeats and finishing as low as 17th. It was chaos disguised as courage.
We saw it with Ten Hag, didn't we? Where we probably kept him longer than we should have done. It was inevitable that he was going to go. With Ange, look, I like him. I do like him. I was happy. Well, coming from United, I was quite happy that, for him, especially, I think there was more pressure on him, wasn't there? He'd had a lot more stick during the season. Will we see him again next year? I think we probably will. I think he will give him a bit of time, but I still think you've been the Ten Hag boat of 10 games in, not quite going as well as it should be, and he could possibly be gone.
But Frank is different. He is not chained to ideology. He is pragmatic, meticulous and ruthless in detail, and it shows. Against PSG in the UEFA Super Cup, he built a tailor-made plan to suffocate the best team in the world. Against Manchester City, he wrote another tactical masterpiece that left Guardiola's champions gasping for air in their own home.
Got the first 45 minutes into the legs, very good. Second thing, not pitching. Third thing, dangerous in set pieces. Reactions, good overall, can also be better. Of course, defensive flop. Hey, first good, start. Go again. That's it. Get the run there. That's it.
The transformation is remarkable. Spurs have gone from reckless to ruthless. Under Frank, the structure is tighter, the press is smarter, and the squad looks like it finally has balance. João Palhinha has been the missing anchor, the midfield general. Who snuffs out danger before it ever reaches the back line. Against City, he was flawless, cutting Cherki out of the game, bullying Bernardo Silva, and forcing errors that led to goals. It is not just steel he brings, but composure. He is the kind of midfielder Spurs have lacked for years, and his partnership with Romero and Van de Ven behind him already feels like the spine of a title contender. What Frank has done is blend solidity with ambition. Tottenham now press high, but not blindly. They set traps, force opponents into mistakes, and when the ball is won, Brennan Johnson and Mohamed Kudus explode into space with lungs that never tire. Richarlison, once doubted, looks reborn under Frank. His movement, his sharpness, his ability to shoulder the goal-scoring burden, all of it was on display at the Etihad. For the first time in a long while, Spurs have an attack that looks sharp and a defence that looks unbreakable. 2 games in, not a single goal conceded in open play. That's no coincidence, that's structure. And yet, Frank hasn't abandoned ambition in possession. The 3-2-4-1 gives them a strong base in midfield while still allowing width and numbers in attack. Vicario, who under Postecoglou barely went long, now mixes his distribution, launching 30-yard balls towards Kudus or Richarlison to bypass the press. Spurs can play short, they can play long, and above all, they can adapt. That flexibility is what makes Frank so dangerous. He reads the opponent, dissects their strengths, and turns them into weaknesses. Guardiola himself was outmaneuvered, his build-up disconnected, his passing triangles suffocated, Haaland isolated like a ghost at the top of the pitch. And this is only the beginning. Kudus and Johnson's explosiveness, Palhinha's dominance, Romero's aggression, Richarlison's goals, and the relentless energy of Sarr and Bentancur have given Spurs a foundation strong enough to dream. Add the dynamism of Pedro Porro on the flank, and the raw firepower that could still arrive from the transfer market, with Tottenham and City fighting behind the scenes for Savinho. And the message is clear. Spurs are no longer outsiders. They are a force. Frank has not just repaired Tottenham, he has rebuilt them into a machine capable of challenging the very best. For the first time in years, Spurs fans can believe this is more than a flash of form. This is a structure, a philosophy, a team with the weapons to go toe-to-toe with Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, and yes, even City. And if they continue like this, the Premier League is about to learn that Tottenham Hotspur are done being underdogs. They're here to dominate. If there is one tactical weapon that defines Thomas Frank's Tottenham, it is the high press. For years, Spurs were accused of being passive, waiting too deep, and allowing elite teams to suffocate them. That era is over. Now they are the ones who suffocate, the ones who dictate the tempo by pressing high and forcing mistakes in the most dangerous zones of the pitch. Frank has turned pressing into an art form, and it is quickly becoming the identity of this new Spurs side. The logic is simple but brutal. Don't let the opponent breathe. Every pass is chased, every touch is contested, and every option is cut off until the ball's either recovered or cleared in panic. Against Manchester City, Burnley, PSG and pre-season games, the blueprint was crystal clear. From the very first minute, Tottenham swarmed James Trafford and his defenders, refusing to let them settle into Guardiola's rhythm. The result, chaos. And from that chaos came goals. What makes this approach even more exciting is that it places Spurs among the tactical elite of world football. Look at Hansi Flick's Barcelona, currently hailed as the most complete team in Europe. Their ability to press high, recover possession in seconds, and instantly transform it into attacking sequences is what makes them unplayable. Or Luis Enrique's PSG, whose suffocating pressure and quick recoveries have redefined how a super team should dominate matches. Tottenham are following that same path, with Romero locking Haaland out of the game, Palhinha cutting passing lanes, and Johnson and Kudus leading the charge. Spurs showed that pressing high is not just about energy, it's about intelligence, timing, and trust in the system. When done well, it doesn't just stop the opponent, it breaks their spirit. This is why Frank's project feels so promising. He has given Spurs a system that mirrors the best in the world, but with the ferocity and hunger of a team desperate to prove itself. Pressing high is not easy, it requires fitness, discipline, and sacrifice. Yet Tottenham are showing they can do it against the very best. And when you press like Barcelona, when you suffocate like PSG, you put yourself in the conversation of the world's elite. Spurs have found their weapon, and the Premier League has been warned.